views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
Hey, everybody. Super welcome. Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Welcome to Transformation Talk Radio. Welcome to KKNW. Welcome to wherever you're listening from. I also want to welcome our new affiliates on some of the networks that I actually don't even know how to say. But I want to thank you all. A special shout out to all of our listeners in Australia. And thank you, Sean, for plugging us in. Very important show today. Let me first say hi to Mr. Benny. Hello, Benny.
Hey, Pat. Welcome back.
Full house.
Full house.
Full house.
Got me working overtime. Sweating over here.
Full house. Yeah, almost like a royal flush, which is better than a full house, right?
I believe so.
I know.
Wait, say it again.
Royal flush.
Yes, top of the line.
Yeah.
Sorry, it took me a minute.
That's what we got going on today.
I just get screwed either way, so I just give them my money. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but no matter how you look at it, guess what? Got to be all in.
Yeah.
Got to be
Especially
all in.
when you're sweating out, you got to stay what? Hydrated. Oh.
Gotta say hydrated.
Benny.
I know. It's very good.
Woo! 3-pointer right there.
There's a reason why he's the man.
You're welcome very much. You're welcome.
There's a total reason for that. But yeah, it's a conversation about water, but it's not just any water. And I have to tell you, Benny, for me, this is a lesson I learned the hard way because I am in a lot of ways, and especially starting out in this journey, I have been one of the greatest skeptics. And, you know, for me, that changed in 2004. And I don't think there's any better way to learn about something is when you have to save your life. And, we know this, you, Rob and Brenda, who also have a show here, we're hearing stories from all of the hosts that are participating on the network as well as Transformation Talk Radio, that there's usually something that has shown up in their lives. And without getting into a lot of details about that, I have to say for me, getting ill is not something that I was used to. I was the pillar of health for most of my life, up until 2004. And then came the mystery disease. I actually don't like to call it a disease. I call it sort of the mystery opportunity. And as a result of that, I got to stay in what we're now calling Positive Talk Radio for 14 years. But what did I learn along the way? Well, I learned a number of things. But today, many of you have been asking us, Pat, I've heard you talk about water, but you don't really talk about it. You kind of like do a drive-by about it. You did this the other day when we did a show on Lyme disease. But we want to know more about it, and we want our questions answered. Because even to this day, with all of the information that's out there about water, we still don't want to believe that there are fundamental differences in the water that you drink out of your faucet and other water. We also don't want to believe that there is a fundamental difference in the level of acidity and pH. Now we know a lot about pH. We know a lot about pH and alkaline in the body. We know a lot about antioxidants. We now know a lot. Why? Because people have shared their stories and we are willing to learn about it. So today's show, I'm going to introduce you to three incredible people. Other than Benny, he's also Mr. Incredible.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you.
But we already did that.
Yeah, enough about
and I'm going to start out with Dan, who I actually owe a ton to for saying to me, Pat, just try this water. I'm gonna keep bringing these gallons to you. I know you're shaking your head, but I'm going to keep bringing the gallons to you. And I just want you to drink it. And then, just see what happens. Just drink the water. Go ahead, put it in your tea. Don't change anything you're doing. Don't go out and do a 21-day detox smoothie drink. Just keep doing your doing. Eat your hamburgers or whatever you're going to eat and just drink the water. And then I did that. And then in addition to that, then finally Dan said, you're drinking a lot of water. Why don't I just put this little machine in here and you try the machine? And I said, yeah. So, for me, I'm thinking the water he's bringing in the gallons, is special water, and it's not really the machine water. So I'm like, okay.
Like the holy grail of water.
Yeah, it's right. I know you're doing something special with the water, but what if I drank it out of the machine? Let me just see how that's going to work. And so for me, having this healing journey, you have pretty much tried everything. This was something I didn't try. So today you're going to hear a story, not just from me, but you're going to hear a story from these incredible gentlemen joining me here today. Now, what happened to me after the water situation? How did it affect my blood work? How did it affect some other things in my life? Well, I don't want to start out with that because I want to introduce Dan and the folks joining us here today. Dan, it's great to have you here. Dan, change chairs. I'm looking over here.
Right.
Dan.
I'm moving around.
Yeah. And I'll do a formal introduction of everyone later. But,
sure.
Dan, take a minute, introduce yourself, and then let's go around the panel.
Absolutely. My name is Dan Edland. Thank you for having us, Patty. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. We also have Sam Tran down here, and this is Steve Beaumont.
So tell us a little bit about each of you and, what you discovered about water, because I don't think the four of us sitting here were born into this world saying, oh, yeah, we knew about it. Yeah, this is what's happening. Something drew you to this conversation just like it drew me. But there are some things that you've seen change in people.
Oh, absolutely.
And this is why you're passionate about this. Tell us a little bit about your own journey.
Well, my journey started a few years ago, and like you, I was very, very skeptical. I believe from my first introduction to actual incorporating the water into my daily life was somewhere around a year to 18 months. But I was, exposed in a way that I would be considered today to be improper. So once I actually started drinking the water, I just felt, immediate physical changes. And obviously the journey has led to a ton of situations where I've been able to see and witness this in other people, and it's, I could go on for hours, but, just what happened in my own life is one thing, but just what we get to see on a daily basis is the gift. So.
Yeah. Do you remember telling me, I don't want you to change anything, just drink the water?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, don't change anything. Don't be eating super green vegetables.
You want to know why I don't forget it? Because I said it to somebody yesterday, and I'm probably going to say it to somebody today, because everybody looks at it pretty much the same way as, come on, water's just water. And, I try and tell them it's just not the case.
Yeah. So let's go around the panel if we could.
Hi, thanks for having us on. I'm Steve Beaumont, and
great to have you here, Steve.
Thanks, Dr. Pat. I was introduced to this water about 3 years ago, actually by the same person that introduced Dan. And the interesting thing for me was I was actually kind of disappointed when I first tried the water because I was expecting it to be some kind of flavored water or something totally different than what it was. But the interesting thing is I got a good night's sleep for the very first time in years, probably a decade, the very first time that I drank this water. And for me, that was a big deal because I was on prescription sleeping pills and non-prescription sleep meds for years. And a good night's sleep was just about all I needed to be convinced of this. So it's been a remarkable journey, and the results that we see in people is constant. And my skin's cleared up, all kinds of. Yeah. It's absolutely changed my life in every way.
And we're going to talk about why that is. We're going to talk about why, in each of our scenarios, mine is an obvious change in blood work after over a decade of no change in blood work, right? Why would that even happen? That's, most people would look at that and say, oh, you're just making that up. But you can't make this up. So thank you. And then rounding out the panel here.
Mr. Sam Tran.
Sam.
Hi, Dr. Pat. Thank you for having all of us here. I came into Enagic about a year ago, but I've known about it for about a decade. My background is I'm a clinical lab scientist. I used to be a cancer researcher. And so we're always looking for ways to help people, right? Because cancer is going to get us in the end, and we don't want all the side effects of all the cancer meds. So I've been looking for something like this for the past 20 years. But being on the research side, I was very skeptical, extremely skeptical,
right?
For over a decade. And how I found out about it was I'm 45 now, but I play basketball with a bunch of 25-year-olds. And so it's, it gets harder to recover the older you get. And so my friend gave me a gallon of this, and the next day I wasn't sore. And so I was like, that's kind of interesting. What's in this water?
Right. And
so the questioning begins and the digging begins, and then that led me to find out that, wow, Japan has had this for 43 years?
Yeah.
Where's this been all my life?
Isn't that an interesting question?
Yes. So
I asked the same thing.
Where has this been? Especially we live in a country that is, the segment just before this was about the FDA and opiates, opiate overdose, right? Well, we have all the best meds in the world, so we should have the best results. We have the best hospitals, but who's living the longest? Yeah, the Japanese. So that kind of the light bulb came on.
Yeah, and part of this too is incorporating a very simple practice.
Yes.
A very simple change in your life, right? And to be able to do that. And then turn around and start to have things happen in ways that you just don't pay attention to. You're talking about sleeping, the best night's sleep. Many of us are talking about a reduction in pain. Mm-hmm. Other things we're talking about is changes in blood work, that if you look at that, you ask yourself, well, wait a minute, what did you do differently? And if the answer really is, well, the thing I did differently is drink this water that this guy Dan keeps giving me. And then your doctor says, we actually think you don't have the right blood work. Let's run it again. Mm-hmm. And then all you keep doing is keep drinking this water. How do you explain it? As researchers, both you and I are, most people would say it's a confounding variable, but we've eliminated that. When we come back, I want to tell you why this is important. Open up the phone lines for questions and let you all ask your questions, and let's see what we can do to help. Today's conversation is about everything you wish you would have known about alkaline pH water that nobody was willing to tell you. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Treat the body and expand the soul on June 1st with Lynn Brown. Imagine 3 days in a hand-built log home nestled in the Cascade Mountain. Activate the collaboration between the body and spirit and allow the accelerated connection as one of the most powerful ways to light up your cells, honor the body's needs in this all-inclusive event. Visit lynnmbrown.com or call 206-931-7356. Tune in to the hit show Mouthing Off with Chef Rossi. Chef Rossi mouths off about different subjects in pursuit of breaking down walls and opening up your minds. She and Dr. Pat banter back and forth, taking from the headlines of the day on subjects that reach beyond what goes on in the world into your hearts. And go to theragingskillet.com to find out more and let Chef Rossi know what's on your mind.
Tune in to The Jen Royster Show, intuitive guidance to inspire your life, each Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This amazing show is an inspirational hour that will take you on an epic metaphysical journey to discover the spiritual approach to life's greatest challenges. Dr. Jen is an internationally known intuitive counselor, spiritual teacher, and energy healer. Call in for intuitive readings and visit JenRoyster.com for more information.
Is traditional medicine not working for you? Do you still feel as if your health isn't 100%? Here at the Holistic Medical Center, Dr. Nushin Darvish and the qualified staff look through the dimensions of wellness and start a healing plan prioritized to your needs. Our physicians assess the whole you until complete health is achieved. Get the help you need by visiting drdarvish.com or call 425-451-0404. Awareness is universal. Establishing a living awareness through meditation brings peaceful, healthy, and creative well-being into your everyday life. The practice of living awareness, Spirit Fire's own meditation practice, is built on this belief and is designed for every level of practitioner. Each year, Spirit Fire hosts living awareness meditation retreats that allow you to explore the practice in depth at our retreat center in beautiful Western Massachusetts. Introduce yourself to meditation and the practice at the Foundation's retreat. Attend, in silence, a silent meditation retreat focused on mindfulness, presence, and nature, or be engaged with the meditation sittings themselves at the Deepening Retreat. Start adding to your awareness and attend a meditation retreat designed to cultivate consciousness in your everyday life. For details on attending a Living Awareness meditation retreat, visit upcoming events at www.spiritfire.com.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. I'm Dr. Pat. For more information about me, you can always go to thedrpatshow.com or you can go to transformationtalkradio.com. And later on today, we're going to give you information if you want to find out about the water. But got to adjust my mic here a minute. There we go. More importantly, the question is, what do you want to know? I'm going to share a little bit about my blood work in a way that Steve and especially Sam will be able to, tell you what that actually means, because it's kind of a rare change in blood work. But before we get to that, I want to say neither I nor anyone here are making any medical claims. And I just want to be clear about it. The only thing we can do is bring our experience, strength, and hope to the conversation and try to talk about what has changed in our personal lives and why we have this message today. We're not easily convinced. When I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about the people that I'm next to, and I'm looking at Sam, who's kind of like me, research background, it takes a lot to prove to us that something is going to work or not work. But, today I want to have Steve jump in, because in addition to having this research end of it, there are some things that you have to know on a very basic level that I didn't know. And Steve, thank you for today. We have to talk about, this debate that's going on between alkaline, non-alkaline, and it's a new term that we actually have to be educated about. Now, the good news is we're starting to read about it in cancer studies and other studies that are being done across the world. Mm-hmm. We're just taking a really long time. So I would love for you to educate us about what it is, and then also talk about what happens when you have this ionization in it.
Absolutely. Thank you. And first and foremost, it's important for people to understand that there is a difference between waters. Not all water is the same. And if you disagree with that, I implore you to take a glass and go to your toilet and fill it up and take a drink, because not all water is the same. And now we're being led into the grocery store where there is just a plethora of options out there. Alkaline water, reverse osmosis, and there's such a vast difference. Now, when we're looking at alkaline versus acidic, you need to understand that anything alkaline is going to be above neutral on the pH scale. And the human body is naturally slightly alkaline. And anything that you put into your body that's acidic is going to cause your immune system in your body to just simply work harder. And it's going to rob your body of its resources. And I'm sure Sam will touch more on that when he gets into the science of it. But as a society, we're becoming more and more educated. It's absolutely imperative that we eat alkaline, that we drink alkaline, and that we maintain an alkaline homeostasis in our bodies. And drinking this type of water has the best chance at keeping your body in the proper balance. Now, you can go to the grocery store and you could buy alkaline water. There's a lot of them out there. Now, you have to know that there's a difference. You have to read the ingredients. Make sure that you're not drinking inorganic minerals, because if you buy a bottle of water that says it's alkaline, I guarantee if you read the ingredients, there's going to be bicarbonate buffers and there's going to be chlorides and all these inorganic minerals that are added to it. And there hasn't been long-term research done on those, on how they affect the body long-term. Yeah. This is electrolyzed water, what we're talking about today. This is not a chemically altered water. This is the way that it's made in nature. We're just putting the energy back into the water. And when we put it in our body, it heals. It helps us to heal naturally from within, the way that we're supposed to. Mm-hmm. Because every one of us has an immune system that can fight and prevent and cure disease if we support it properly.
Yeah, and I think what you're talking about is certainly my experience. You know, it's when you're talking about the difference between water, it's like the difference between anything. You know, a lot of things we buy and we put in our body, or we buy for our homes or anything, there's a gold standard for it. And we know the difference in quality of things. For people listening to the show, I think it's important for us to be sure that we're giving information about what we now learning about this. You know, I'm like you. When I first heard about this over 10 years ago, I was like, nah, really? But I'm not there now, because now we know in the research, we're finding information about the diseases, and cancer is one of them. Yes. So what have we learned about what the body likes most from a science point of view?
The body likes to be healthy, period. Right? The body needs building blocks, needs minerals, needs nutrients to be able to build and repair. That's why we have to sleep at night and we recuperate, right? But more and more, we're feeding our body things that it's not looking for. It's not looking for just sugar-based products. It's looking for nutrition. So when you drink this water, the reason why we drink this water and we always crave more for it, because the body knows what's good for it, right? And so when we drink this water, we're getting there's still the minerals, but we're getting the energy. We're getting the oxidation reduction potential. And that's key today, because a lot of the products that we consume, right, are processed foods with preservatives, right? And what do we have? We have many processed foods that have all sorts of preservatives in there. And so we're putting those into our body, and so the body does not like that. Yeah,
I did a pickle challenge once, not too long ago, about a year ago. And the pickle challenge was, I want you to go to any grocery store that you can possibly find, including your organics, and let me know a jar of pickles you find that doesn't have yellow dye in it. Mm-hmm. I want to know what that is. I don't care if it's organic, gluten-free, whatever you want. I just tell me what the brand is that has that in it, so I know, because almost everything we eat has something in it. But I want to get back to, something, Steve, that you said, and that is that this is a water that is processed in a certain way, and it's been processed in a certain way and used in other countries for decades. Mm-hmm. Give us a little backstory about that, because I think we're just starting to learn about this here in America.
It's practically cutting edge here in America. This has been in existence for over 40 years, and it started in Japan. It actually started in Japanese hospitals. In fact, for the first 20 years of our company's existence, we only marketed to Japanese hospitals. And the way we are in America, we're a little bit behind the times, are we not?
Right.
The cell phone, we were a little bit behind the times on that, and this trend is going that way as well. We practice things a little bit different in America. We do a lot of reactive healthcare, where the Japanese and those cultures, they practice preventative. Mm-hmm. They're proactive. They're trying to stay ahead of the disease. And here in America, we discover the disease and then we react to it by giving drugs or medications or treatments. And that's where we're behind the eight ball. We missed the boat where the Asian cultures, especially the Japanese, they've been doing it completely opposite.
Right.
And their numbers, their life expectancy shows it. They're number one year after year after year in life expectancy. And where are we in America? We're number 38, guys.
Exactly.
Number 38.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to say to everybody, we are taking your questions in a couple of ways. You can call in at 1-800-930-2819. You can certainly do that, 1-800-930-2819. We'll take your questions. And if you don't want to come on air, just give those questions to Mr. Benny. The other way is that if you go to Transformation Talk Radio or the Dr. Pat Show, on the right-hand side, you can put your questions in there. For those of you that want to find out more about the water we're talking about, go to drpatwater.com. That's drpatwater.com. So think about this. You know, there are foods that we put in our body that are considered acidic. Let's talk about that. Mm-hmm. Then there are foods that are considered alkaline. Let's talk about foods that are acidic, and let's talk about what's alkaline that we can put in our body. Give us a rundown of some of these. I know definitely, I hear it from Dan all the time. You still drinking that coffee? But I say, well, wait a minute. It's like organic and shade grown. and I use the water.
And by the way, the water makes the best coffee in the world.
It does, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But give us a rundown, if you could. What are we talking about when we say acidic to people? And then when we say alkaline?
Processed foods, a lot of sugar. Mm-hmm. As a society, we consume a ton of sugar compared to what we used to. And my brother's a dentist. And, I asked him, so why do kids that drink a lot of pop and eat a lot of candy get cavities? Well, he says sugar is metabolized to acid by the bacteria in your teeth. And that they leave that waste product on your gums, on your teeth, and it makes cavities. So we also process sugar and protein and everything into acid as a waste product. That's why we breathe out carbon dioxide. We breathe out acid, right? So we definitely don't want to put the acid back in, because now you're doubling and tripling and quadrupling the work that the body has to do to get rid of the acid again. And so it's a lot of our food, a lot of our products, if you look at the food preservatives, they're mostly acid-based, right? Because the acid kills germs. Mm-hmm. Right? And so that's why we have an acid load.
Yeah. Yeah. And what we're talking about today is we're talking about, water, Kangen water, and we're talking about it because there's a lot of information. And as I said, if you go to Dr. Pat Water, you're going to be able to see the answers to all the questions. But, there are a couple of things that we can talk about. One of them, which, you and I, Sam and I are going to talk about it from a medical point of view about the pathogen, right? I mean, this is a term that everybody on the planet in the United States now is learning, pathogens, because we're learning about how they're transmitted through food, how they're transmitted in different ways. And then we're talking about this overload in our body for what we put in. I mean, it is difficult to go through a day and not put a single thing in your body that isn't loaded with a non-food type component. Dan, go ahead.
Well, in the interesting conversation that we're having a little bit about food, but I'm kind of thinking of the viewer that's sitting out there with a bottle in their hand, and I really want to bring up the fact that these people are living under the intention that when they go and pick up that bottle that they're actually hydrating themselves. And what we really need to talk about is that those bottles, and you can go to Dr. Pat's thing and see demos on the various waters that you would buy in a store, but they're actually very acidic themselves. So these people are under the guise of doing something for themselves of hydration, and they're consuming something that's 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 times more acidic than their blood. So we really want to get back to just the root, because there's so many people that are sitting there going, well, I've got this, so I'm okay. Mm-hmm. And then getting into the leaching of the chemicals in the plastic and all that stuff is a completely different conversation. But, the biggest thing is just how unaware of what people are of what's in their water.
Yeah, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the 3 properties of water. Then we're going to talk about antioxidants. And then we're going to talk about, how this can all be contained in one place. Later on in the show, Sam and I are going to talk about one little line in the blood work that goes completely unnoticed by most people, except if you have some kind of illness. It doesn't have to be a big one, big, scary, but if you have something in your body that your immune system doesn't like, there's this one line in the blood work that nobody wants to talk about except when it changes drastically and it gets your doctor's attention. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
On the cutting edge of the new mainstream, Christine Upchurch is passionate about bringing together science, psychology, and spirituality in a way that can be applied to our everyday lives for true transformation. The Christine Upchurch Show. Stellar conversations to illuminate your journey. Engages some of the most outstanding visionaries on the planet in lively dialogue to inspire you to become that bright light you're meant to be. Join Christine every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time on KKNW, AM 1150, and Transformation Talk Radio.
A word of caution: if you prefer the status quo and you are not interested in improving every aspect of your life, this book will trigger the shift out of you. The Truth is Funny, Shift Happens is available now. Author Colette Steffen brings the powerful knowledge and life-changing energy and empowerment from the radio airwaves to the pages of her new book. To get your copy in paperback or ebook, visit thetruthisfunny.com today.
When your body is awakened, your spirit comes alive. Dana Canetto is a transformational guide, embodiment coach, and spiritual mentor assisting women in realigning with their truth and embodying who they are by connecting to the wisdom of their body. Tune in every month on Transformation Talk Radio and the Dr. Pat Show Network for Body Divinity Radio with Dana Canetto. For more information on Dana and her services, visit danacanetto.com. That's DANACANNETO.com.
Gifted intuitive healer and spiritual teacher Sarah Luce brings her unique style to the hit show Small Steps, Big Breakthrough Radio on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Tune in each month as Sarah turns reality on end and shows us how to experience expansive results with simple yet powerful steps. Expect an enlightening bend on what you currently believe is possible. For show details and upcoming topics, visit sarahloos.com. That's SARALOOS.com.
Hey, did you know why they call the foundation? It's called the foundation because it completely eliminates your foundation for what you thought your reality was and creates a whole new space where you can have an entirely new reality that is foundationless. So from my point of view, they should call it the unfoundation or the foundationlessness. Either way, there's a big new global rewrite happening again because these guys cannot stop changing. There should be like a Change Anonymous that Gary and Dane go to. And it's happening April 28th to May 1st. You can find out about it at accessconsciousness.com/global foundation. It's happening in Paris. Go to Paris or do it online or find a pod near you. These are all the options you have. And what else is possible?
Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Dr. Pat, and I am joined here today, just so you know, Dan, Sam, and Steve. Well, don't forget Benny, topping it off. Today,
sounds like a band.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's form a group.
That's right. It is a group.
The Water Boys.
Yeah. There we go.
Sounds like a boy band.
You're welcome.
It is. It's
That's
a boy
fine.
band. Right. Right. It totally is. How to maximize your body's hydration for optimal health. But actually, it's a bigger conversation than that. It's a conversation about what you wish your doctors would have said to you, what you wish somebody would have said to you to help you understand that water is not water. It's, my water, your water, they're not all the same. There's a difference. But what is the difference? And let's break it down into language that people like me really want to understand. I'm a skeptic. And it wasn't until my blood work literally changed, which I'll share a little bit about later, did I start to say, I wonder if it's the water. But there are 3 properties of the water. And for those of you that want to find out more, we're not going to get to everything. I think Dan helped set up a really easy way for you to do that by going to drpatwater.com. questions about the water, does it stay alkaline? What are the 3 properties? And go ahead and take it away, Steve.
Thanks, Dr. Pat. And one of the most common questions we get in this business is, what makes this water different? Well, okay, we could start with one of the properties, that it's alkaline or alkalized, technically. Okay, that's probably the least of the prominent properties of the water. The first thing I notice, and the first thing that most people notice when they drink this water, is the fact that you don't feel it. You don't feel it in your stomach. It doesn't make you feel full or bloated. And that's actually why most people don't drink very much water, because they don't like the way it makes them feel.
Yeah.
And this water absorbs into the cellular structure up to 6 times faster than anything else. And that's remarkable. And that's really good news for athletes, because athletes can drink a ton of this water without feeling full, be properly hydrated, and perform at the highest possible level. And that's why this is making such a big deal in the professional sports arenas, because we are beginning to see this all over the place on the NFL fields and on the baseball fields and in the hockey rinks. And which brings me to another point. We get this thing all the time about the water. Does the water affect the pH of the stomach?
Yeah,
right.
That's a big one.
Right.
It's like, blah, blah, blah. It changes in the stomach.
And
that's a big question. I asked that question.
That's a great point. But the reality is, most of the water that you drink, when you drink this water, doesn't make it to the stomach. It's absorbed through your cellular system, through your esophagus and through your body before it even reaches the stomach. It doesn't have much of a chance to get into the acidic stomach and be affected by your pH. Okay, so it's absolutely amazing how it can bypass that whole process.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to worry about that. It's not going to be affected by stomach pH.
And we have to look at the overall system.
Okay, good.
So your stomach, you have to have stomach acid. It kills germs, when you eat salad and things like that, right? Helps you digest food. But your body will create more acid. So what happens in your body when you add a net amount of acid? Right? You eat something, you drink soda pop.
Exactly, right? Or something else that's, high acidity.
Yeah, but
we mentioned coffee before.
Exactly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a net addition of acid, right, to your body. And at some point, you start exhibiting over acid. We have metabolic acidosis. That's why everyone is on Tums. That's why everyone is on beta blockers and other medicines, right? So if we add a source of alkalinity just by eating green salad and spinach like that, what happens to our health? Right? It improves.
Mm-hmm.
But not everyone is doing that in America, unfortunately. We're crunched for time. So the easiest thing you could do is add a liquid source of alkalinity, a net amount of alkalinity to your life, to your health. And that helps your body maintain the pH, because pH is maintained at 7.365. It's very essential that it be at that exact level. Because if it's not, all your biochemical reactions don't happen the way they're supposed to. Right? And so that's why the body preserves pH the way it does. And it'll go to the extent of leaching calcium from your bones, magnesium from your bones to maintain that pH.
Right.
So even though we take in all sorts of calcium in this country, how come we still have osteoporosis?
Mm-hmm.
But other countries where they don't consume a lot of sugar, but they eat a lot of greens, how come they don't have osteoporosis? Right? So we have to get to that paradigm shift before health, our health degrades, and it shifts our paradigm for us. And we're getting there as a country.
Yeah, but you know what you're talking about? It's really interesting. I had a coach once say to me, Pat, I just want you to change one thing in your life this year. So I go by that motto.
Mm-hmm.
And not that I don't change other things, but, he always said to me, I want you to change one really important thing. And so last year it was the water. I'm gonna. This guy that keeps talking to me about it because he knows a little bit about, when I talk about my medical condition a little bit. And I've shared this in public about having a mystery disease that I got very promptly, April 1st of 2004. And so when you make that one change, what will that change be? And how will you know if it's working out for the better? So let's talk about the people that have made the one change to the water. I say Kangen water because that's how you spell it. I know you're supposed to say Kangen water, but I'm from New York. Either way, you can take a look at what we're talking about at Dr. Pat Water. We made it really simple. But, what are people saying? What are you seeing that people say has changed for them since they started to drink this water?
Yeah. I've helped my former colleague. She used to be my staff member. She was she had lupus for 10 years. 10 years of all sorts of medication, and it's a very debilitating disease. And, at last resort, she said, Sam, I feel like I'm dying. I feel like things are not going right. And I said, just try this water. Just get this and try this. Well, she's in California. So she's been on the water for about 3 months. And she texted me this morning and she said, Sam, my lupus marker, I just came back from the doctor. My lupus markers are not there anymore. And my thyroid is normalized. This is amazing. I've been looking for this. And I tell her, this is what I've been telling you about. Right? Like I'm a researcher. This is what we do in research. We go into research to help people get healthy. Because health and time are the things that you can't get more of. And health is time.
Yeah, but you can't make stories like that up.
You can't.
No, you really can't. And, this may be somebody that probably has been on medication, and the medication, someone said it here, that, we're helping the body work better. We're helping the body work the way. So even if you're on medication, it helps the body process things in a way that is like this helpful aid. It's kind of like that last burst of energy sometimes that you need if you're climbing a mountain and you're almost at the top, but you're not quite at the top, and you're looking above and you're thinking, how am I going to get that burst? How am I going to get that thing to push me over the top?
And that the second wind. Steve went over some of the microstructure and the alkaline nature of the water, but the most essential thing of this water is the oxidation reduction potential. Right? This water has antioxidants. Right?
Yeah, talk about that.
So Dr. Pat, you've talked about free radicals.
Yep.
Dr. Oz, everyone on TV and radio is talking about free radicals and how we're supposed to consume blueberries or acai berries and all these exotic fruits from different countries.
Yeah.
Right? But we're all trying to battle oxidative stress. Oxidative stress happens when a free radical steals an electron from your cells.
Right.
Right.
Talk about that for a minute, because this is really important.
Yes. Because we're exposed to all sorts of chemicals in the air, in the water, in our food that has free radicals in it. Right? They're preservatives. They kill germs. Right? That's why we have preservatives in our food. And those free radicals are causing a stress on our body. That's why we sleep at night. We have to repair and DNA repair at night. Right? But if you don't have a good source of antioxidants, such as leafy green vegetables and broccoli and blueberries and all those things that nature gave us, right, then you're going to go into deficiency. And that shows up as certain diseases. Right? So I know we're in the mindset of treating disease, but what if disease is a signal that something is wrong?
Yeah.
What if disease is the yellow flag, the orange flag, or the red flag before you get the black flag?
Yeah.
Right? What if we treat disease as a signal that something's amiss, something's missing, something's deficient, not a condition where there's something wrong with the body? There is something wrong with the body, but it's a condition of deficiency or you've got too much of something. Right? And so that oxidative stress is essential for all sorts of, it's a result of metabolism. When you live as a person, when you consume, when you sleep, when you sit on the couch and watch TV, you're causing oxidative stress, right?
But tried 405 this morning.
Exactly. Yeah, 405.
Oh, boy.
Anybody.
Just having a deadline.
Right.
Having mental stress is oxidative stress.
24/7, though, now in our society. We're not talking about like when my parents grew up, right? We're talking about the stress that you see on somebody's face from a simple text message.
Oh, it's unreal.
A simple text message. But I want to get back to something you said, which is super important. If this is in fact going to help us, how then does, the Kangen water address, how does it do it? How does it address this? Because people are like, it can't just be drinking this water. But there is more to it than just that. it is really this. At least from my experience, I made no other change in my life, none.
Mm-hmm. Let's put it this way. A 200-pound person is about 150 pounds of water. So if water is about between 70 and 80% of your body, what type of water are you putting in your body? And if the largest component of your body is in fact water, and you're putting in an antioxidant, in fact a water that has the same potential to reduce oxidation as eating 5 pounds of blueberries, and that's a fact, and that's what you're constantly putting in your body, and the largest component of your body is this amazing healing water, then something's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to have an impact.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're seeing with people. And that's why people are having results with this water. And that's why this is so different from everything else that's out there. And that's why more than likely your blood work and all the other testimonies that we hear, it's because we're taking control of the biggest portion of the body. And we're putting something, instead of something acidic that's oxidative and that's dead, essentially, we're putting a living, healing water in our body. And letting our bodies do its thing, letting our immune system do its thing from within.
Yes. Yeah, the only cure out there to anything is your body.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that cures anything in the world is nature, which is us. So we have the ability to repair ourselves. If you get a cut on your hand, right, and you put Band-Aid and you take care of it, over a week it's going to grow new skin.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Well, that happens on the outside, but that also happens on the inside if you give it the correct building blocks to repair itself.
So let's talk for a minute, because I know we're going to, run out of time. So let's talk for a minute about one line of my blood work that changed during this little trial period with Dan and the water, right? And has since stayed changed. But let's talk about this from a medical point of view, from what we know about this just one line. I don't want to get into the whole, but this is one line. And the reason I was drawn to look at this line is because years ago, Dr. Darvish, when I asked Dr. Darvish, who's a fabulous naturopath, for those of you out there, go to drdarvish.com. Saved my life. But this was one line in my blood work, and I said, man, that's like a fancy name. What is that thing that's so high? And she said, oh, that's the bugs. That's the thing that's kind of measuring sort of the, that's not her first description. She gave me a medical understanding, but then she said, you know what? This is how hard your body is working to, right? I shared something with you, but before we get to what happened, tell folks about what this is.
So that's your eosinophil count.
Mm-hmm.
So your blood has many different kinds of cells. We all have white blood cells and red blood cells and platelets. So eosinophils are one component of your white blood cells, right? They actually indicate if you have some kind of reaction in your body, right? So when those eosinophils are high, usually, let's say someone is very allergic to pollen, right? We're in the springtime right now, and people are sneezing and coughing and itchy, watery eyes. So their eosinophil count and their basophil count too will be elevated, right? And if you get a parasite or some kind of infection, that's gonna
Lyme disease through the roof.
Yes.
Anybody that's got Lyme or chronic Lyme, that line in their blood work is like, whoa, right?
Yes. It's a telltale. This is what I used to do. I used to do this in research.
Mm-hmm.
I look at blood work and I look at the side effects. And what I do is I look at the hematology, the blood work, and let the researchers know what their medication, their drug, is doing to the blood cells.
Yeah.
And you can tell what it's doing. If your liver's enzymes are going up.
It's in a report.
Yeah, it's in a report.
You get it in a report.
Yeah.
It's like a line in a report, and it's got like a number, and then it's got like a percent.
Yes. Yeah.
And like there's like, okay, something's not right. Oh, you're at 5% or 10%, and it's like doing all this stuff, right?
Yes. Eosinophils should be less than 1%, less than 0.5%.
Wow.
Normal.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen anybody with 0?
It's pretty rare. Someone probably very healthy would be near 0.
But let's say you're not healthy, and your doctor and society says you're not healthy, but all of a sudden you show up, and your blood work has this at 0.
Yeah, they would probably have to run it again to make sure that.
And then they run it again.
And it's still 0.
Right.
That means you're That means you're not reacting.
That's what happened to me.
That's amazing.
In 3 months.
Yes.
Yeah. It was quick.
So the reason I'm having you guys here is because I'm not a medical doctor, and neither of any one of us.
Yeah.
But that bloodline does not lie.
Yes.
And when you look at that and you're asked, the question, what have you done differently? And you realize that you're going to open your mouth and you're going to say water to your doctor, right? Right?
Short conversation.
They're going to think you're crazy. Yeah.
Very short.
Right.
And you turn around and say, oh, okay, must be the medic. Yeah. No, but zero. No, I'm not kidding.
Yeah. And that's what I tell people. It's like, just get the results, right? Do you care? Do you care if you have to take a pill for the rest of your day, or you have to go study in Tibet with a monk for 7 years, or you drink water?
But I did something bad.
What'd you do?
I didn't believe it. I stopped drinking the water.
But you got the result.
I stopped drinking the water.
And then what happened?
Went back up.
Wow.
Then I drank the water again. I'm a researcher like you, Sam.
That's what they call a clue.
I'm telling you,
right?
I am, even with the results, I'm like, this can't be true.
Yeah, but then that means...
but I don't ever want to experiment with my body like that. Yes. I am going to look at it and I'm going to say, it doesn't matter what else I think is going on. What else is possible? Because for somebody like me, that result wasn't possible.
And that's the biggest thing that we come up with is this is so unique and so new. And for every 300 people that we speak to, one will say, yeah, I've heard of that. I mean, it's so new to people and it's so foreign, the concept. So, this is what we run across every day.
Yeah. I have people coming to my house now filling up their bottles.
Yeah. And we want to change the way that people look at things.
I ask them, why do you keep coming filling up your bottle? He says, the water.
It's amazing.
Well, they say tastes good.
Tastes good.
Yeah. Tastes good.
And we'll come back and do another show. I've got one last question for those of you. And if you all want to find out more, go to drpatwater.com. But yeah, those of you asking me, am I going to post that blood work result? I probably will post that particular line so you can see it. It actually is true. Last question, personal message. What do each of you want to leave us with? Let's start with you, sir.
I want to help people change their paradigms before life changes their paradigms. I've seen so many of my good friends and family, researchers, doctors, dentists that have had, they didn't want to change that paradigm or belief that they had, and they suffered because of it.
And maybe you can address this question. It came in from Carol. Is this safe for animals?
Oh, yes. They love it.
Yes. Safe for anything living. It's water.
The funny thing is that you bring that up because I've actually had people...
I have to thank Carol. That's a Carol question.
Carol, this is amazing. So I've actually had people that have looked at the device over a week to 10 days and say, my dog's drinking 2-3 times the water that it ever did before. And so this is going to react in their body a lot like it does ours. And, the funny thing, that's what we were talking about, like when Steve was saying earlier, people put a lot more thought to the gas they put in their car than their own body, even though their brain's 83% water. Well, a lot of people will look at me and they go, I'm getting the machine because I see a difference in my dog. And that's a sad state. No, but that's a sad state because that's how little thought we put to ourselves. We think more about the gas in our Mercedes than what we're going to put in our own body these days. And that's,
And
we need to change that.
And Steve, let's get your personal message. This is going to end in about 1 minute. I hope you all will come back. This was in response to questions that had come from our listeners. So I promise we'll do part 2.
First of all, thank you so much, Pat, Dr. Pat, for having us on. It's an absolute honor to get to work with Sam and Dan. But my message to listeners is, if you have one of us crazy people that are trying to share water with you, drink it.
Yeah.
Try the water because
it's free.
The reality is we're doing it because we care. We genuinely care about people. We want to help people, and because we know that it works. It's just that simple. So if you have someone that's offering to give you free Kangen water, take it. Take this opportunity to try something that may change your life, because it absolutely has changed ours.
I think what we're saying is that old expression, you can bring a horse to water and you can't make them drink. That's not the case. You bring a horse to this water, and they will drink.
Absolutely.
Don't come back.
Thank you all. We're going to take a short break, everyone. We're not done yet. More with the Dr. Pat Show. We'll be right back.
Swim